How to eat to live. Psychology behind eating. Since our body is made up of food, food is the most important aspect of lifestyle. This is well understood by modern dietitians, nutritionists, physical trainers, beauty therapists, and many more people. They express their views and experiences through various media. It seems there is a new diet book published every week. People are influenced by this and try to follow these regimes. But each one's approach is different. It is easy to get confused as to which one to follow. Ayurved's understanding is that each person has to be considered as an individual and individualized solution have to be found in order to see results. But many people opt for ready-made guidance available for the masses and start following them without paying attention to personal needs and capacities. They end up either giving up the concept of healthy eating or move from one diet to another endlessly. Here we try to explain the psychology behind eating. I hope it will be beneficial in general in choosing an appropriate path. Personalized questionnaire in the last part of this book will help you make necessary alterations as per requirement. Why do we eat? If you are able to sincerely ask this question to yourself, you will see that the answer will provide much information about the ideal path towards achieving or maintaining your health. The answers to the question will vary from person to person and from time to time. We will consider a number of possible answers. Eating out of hunger. This is the most natural reason to eat and is the normal and immediate response to the needs of the body, mind and senses. True hunger is a sign that your body needs urgent energy to provide properly functioning. It is also a sign that your body is finished digesting your last meal and is ready for another meal. This hunger should not depend on what food is available. True hunger means you are hungry enough to eat things that are nourishing but may not be your favorite. Hunger at the sight of your favorite food should be subject to the inquiry: am I hungry or just desiring a tasty treat? Eating due to liking. Mouth-watering delicious food attracts one's mind, even when there is no hunger. Of course, food should be enjoyed, and when we are used to healthy food, we will gain great enjoyment in it. However, it is easy to be tricked into thinking that you are hungry when you are not. This is a human tendency and leads to eating without real hunger and when the body is not ready to digest properly. These cravings are for satisfaction of the mind. It is better to control them because they can become uncontrollable due to addiction later. If the desire is not controllable and you must give in, then take a very small quantity just to satisfy the desire. But it is better to try avoiding situations where the mind may be tempted. Eating to pass time. This is most dangerous because generally junk food is consumed just for passing time while traveling or while watching TV. Generally fried food items are consumed, which have untoward health effects. Moreover, as we are not eating a normal meal but snacking, we don't have as much control over the quantity of food consumed. Eating out of depression and frustration. The body tries to counteract depression or frustration by keeping the mind engaged in certain other activities. An easy way is to engage it is munching on junk food or even healthy food when you are not hungry. This is even more dangerous than eating to time pass. Even with a good digestion, there is no proper digestion of this kind of food. If it goes on for a prolonged period, this can lead to various metabolic diseases like hyperglycemia, hyperlipidemia, etc., or even diabetes, heart attack. Crunchy, munchies, food, or soft drinks may elevate the mood for a while but ultimately lead to more psychological disorders and obesity. The real answer in this situation is to find the root of frustration and take steps to come out of it. Proper guidance from a counselor and regular practice of yoga will help in this situation. Eating out of fun. Some people may opt for eating for fun. No doubt that food is enjoyable, but not to the extent of fun. It is rather a serious matter to be taken with a pleasant mind. This sort of thing may happen if you are eating with friends or family and you are not hungry but enjoying the company. Eating for fun will definitely end up with misery after a prolonged period. Forceful eating. Mothers and grandmothers who is concerned about the health of their children may forcefully encourage children and even adult children eat more often in more quantity and even with heavy food items. They are bothered about the nutrition of their children and try to push them to eat. Younger kids follow the rules of nature very obediently. They will refuse food even given by their mother out of love when they have satisfied themselves. But as they grow, they can be forced to take what they don't need and later expect their mothers to provide unhealthy food in larger quantities. This leads to obesity and other problems right from childhood. There is another psychological factor behind this kind of forceful eating. In nuclear families where both parents are working and are unable to give much time to their children, the guilt that this causes leads them to compensate by pampering the kids with extra delicious store-bought food and other material for enjoyment like games, toys, etc. Mother is the best caretaker of the children and whenever possible should stay home or work part-time till the children are in school. Later, there will be time to concentrate on their career. This is an investment in health and well-being of the children and more important than the wages that may be lost. There is another kind of forceful eating observed in society. People on regular conventional medication like diabetes, hypertension, hyper hypothyroidism eat for taking pills or injections. Especially diabetes patients are advised to have breakfast in the morning because they have to consume anti-diabetic drugs or insulin. Nobody bothers to ask them whether they feel hungry or not. In many instances, they force themselves to eat without hunger. That leads to ama, toxins, and further complicates the diseases. Dieting. People often force themselves to follow a particular diet in order to reduce weight, or to look smarter and younger, or to follow a fad that they have heard is healthy. Often this amounts to going on and off crash diets. People in a hurry to reduce weight just often end up by paying a penalty in the form of serious diseases. In these instances, the role of the mind is most important. One has to define objectives, consider and analyze the situation, and take care that there is nothing harmful in the diet that they have chosen. Nourishment of the body and satisfaction of the mind is required to be fulfilled, and without this, no diet will last for very long. Even modern medicine has noticed how damaging these on again, off again diet crazes are. Additionally, many of these crazes are based on eliminating one or another of the needed nutritional elements like fat or carbohydrates or cooked foods. Though short-term reduction of weight may be seen, the long-term effects of this diminish the overall health of the body, and which creates an environment that is susceptible to many serious diseases. Recommendations for healthy eating habits. With this background, let us consider the basic rules for eating that will sustain the body for a long, healthy and happy life. Remember that Ayurveda knows that when and how you eat is nearly as important as what you eat. In other words, you can eat perfectly healthy foods but in the wrong quantities at the wrong times and with the wrong mindset, and that food will not nourish you. Less than perfect foods eaten with reverence and calm at regular times each day, and when you are truly hungry, will nourish you quite well. But the best way to ensure that your body is creating healthy tissues that will give you long term health is to eat perfectly healthy foods according to the following guidelines on a regular basis. Deviation from a healthy diet is enjoyable once in 2 or 3 months, but deviation once a week or 2, 3 times or even daily is dangerous and will have long lasting negative effects. Eat only when you are hungry. Often we eat because we are habituated to it. We have a few moments in a busy schedule to grab a bite, or the lunch bell rings and this is the allotted time for food. Unfortunately, these opportunities rarely fall exactly when our body is ready to eat. Ideally, our previous meal has been digested, our stomach is empty, and we feel hungry, then only we should eat. Many times there can be false hunger. To distinguish between real hunger and false, one has to ask a simple question to oneself: am I hungry enough to eat something I don't particularly like? If the hunger is so much that even a disliked food is edible, then the hunger is real. That's the proper time for food. In the practical world, though, we are not always in control of when we eat, so how can we adjust? It is best to habituate yourself to eating when you can eat. For instance, your lunch break comes at noon, but you are not hungry at noon. If you eat a large breakfast, but you are not hungry at noon if you eat a large breakfast, then eat a smaller breakfast so that you can eat a good sized meal at lunchtime. It is good to be habituated to certain timings so that you feel real hunger when it is possible for you to eat. This may seem like a small thing, But eating when there is undigested food in your stomach is the core cause of many diseases, even up to cancer. Prevent diseases like cancer with very simple earlier steps. Eat only when you are hungry. Eat as much as your body requires. The way to figure out how much to eat is to think of your stomach having three equal parts. One part should be filled with solid food, another should be filled with liquids, including water, and the third should be kept empty. That means one has to eat only to the two-third capacity of the stomach. Your body needs this part of your stomach to be empty so that there is room for the food to move as it is being digested. You will know when you have gotten to this mark. You will feel satisfied but not overfull. Persons with healthy digestion can eat this much and not feel that they need to snack before their next meal, but will be properly hungry at the next meal, usually 4 to 6 hours later. This is a measure and timing for normal food. Heavy food should be consumed in half of that quantity. Concentrate on your meal. Eating is a holy process and one should respect it as such. Our body is beginning the rather alchemical process of transforming organic material into the biological material that makes up our body. We tend not to remember this when we lose in a hurry and we give the importance and we the importance of giving time and attention to this amazing process. We often combine the activity with work, reading, watching TV, discussing, etc. Eating is one of the most important holy everyday activities and it should be treated as a special time. Give adequate time for meals. Concentrate on the food. Enjoy it and allow it to nourish your spiritually and emotionally as well as physically. Leave the TV off and the books on their shelf. Switch off the mobile. Meals will be more satisfying this way and you will feel less of a need to overeat or snack later. Eat with a pleasant mind. Worry, tension, anger, and jealousy have become a part and parcel of our life. It is hard to escape from them while eating also. Food taken in such moods becomes poisoned by these emotions and doesn't get digested. Diseases like hyperacidity, ulcers, and even cancer are the outcome of this behavior. So relax. Forget tensions for the moment and eat with a pleasant mind. Fruits and desserts to be taken before meals or breakfast. There is a custom of eating fruits and meals or breakfast. This is improper according to Ayurveda. Fruits are composed of sweet or sour taste generally and are usually eaten raw. When we have a good appetite, they are best eaten at the beginning of the meal. Eating them after food leads to excessive kapha dosh, causing sinusitis, bronchitis, etc. The same thing applies to desserts. They are sweet in taste and heavier to digest, so should be taken before meals. We should finish our meal with astringent, pungent, or bitter taste. Chewing a cardamom pod or clove is a good option as it aids digestion and signals to the stomach that the meal is finished while giving you a feeling of completion. Eat freshly prepared food and avoid leftover. The food should be hot when you eat it. It should also be freshly prepared. Through the history of humans, this is how we eat. freshly prepared foods straight from the pot. Increasingly, foods are cooked and preserved in both the refrigerator at home and in restaurants or grocery stores. This food is reheated in the microwave or stove top and then served hot. We don't see it as stale food, but it is stale as it has been stored and begun the process of decomposing. This is true also of food that has been frozen, canned, dried, or preserved in aseptic packages. With preservation techniques and flavorings, it is made to taste fine, and we have become habituated to it. I was surprised to see even Indians residing in the US cook once a week and reheat the food for meals. These foods do not supply the body with what it needs. What will result from depending on stale foods for nutrition includes fatigue, indigestion, and more serious problems like diabetes and cancers. Emphasize fresh home cooked meals. Fresh homemade food has no alternative at all. The restaurant or deli food may be hygienic, tasty, and readily available but cannot be compared with home cooking. The affection and nurturance of a caring cook deeply affect the properties of the food they prepare. It is always best to carry food from home when you know beforehand that you will be away from home during meal times. If you pay attention to the effects of homemade food versus meals eaten out, you will see that this food is less likely to give indigestion or lead to lethargy. Emphasize simple traditional foods. Traditional foods did not change very much over hundreds of years, and these are the foods that our bodies are more acclimated to and which will nourish us best. The traditional Indian food items include rice, dal, cereal, pulses, seasoned vegetables, roti or bhakri, type of roti made from different grains, ghee or buttermilk, etc. Each culture has these staple foods. Consider what was a staple food for your great grandparents and use these items in your daily cooking. Only on special occasions were other more elaborate and heavier foods served. But now we have a huge variety of food readily available at the market or even prepared at home. Every day, some new food item is developed or imported from far off lands. Even if these foods are eaten by the people where they are indigenous, it does not mean that your body can assimilate them. Constantly changing dietary habits causes body stress far beyond possible nutritional benefits. Rice, wheat, vegetables, milk and milk products, fruits and meat are the main constituents of meals worldwide, and these basic staples should make up the bulk of what we eat. Avoid incompatible food combinations. Ayurveda describes certain food combinations as viruddhana, viruddhana and they should be avoided. A common example of this is milk and fruit eaten together. Milk and fruits are independently good for health, but in combination they become incompatible. This includes the following combinations: banana and milk, fruit salad with cream, milkshakes, and ice creams with fruits. If one consumes these occasionally, it won't produce much harm, but taken regularly, they may lead to skin diseases and allergies. The same is true of the combination of milk and salt, which is very common. If you have milk with your tea or coffee, you must avoid having breads or pastries that usually have salt. cereal and milk or cream is also culprit. Milk with sour tasting foods is common. Cream sauces or soups and curries or desserts with fruit and cream. Cheese is a good example of a combination of milk with both sour, fermented and salt and is a culprit in many diseases. In the long run, these combinations can cause imbalance of dosha and lead to diseases. Though Westerners are habitual to cheese, it's better to reduce its consumption and at least switch over to cottage cheese or tofu, soya paneer, which is rather fresh and less processed. Merits and demerits of soya beans also need to be considered separately. You can rely more on ghee or fresh unsalted butter in sandwiches and desserts.